Blackstone Audio presents Big, Hot, Cheap, and Right: What America Can Learn from the Strange Genius of Texas by Erica Grieder. This book is read by Bernadette Dunne. For my brothers, Daniel, John, Mark, and David. Introduction. At noon on March 16, 1861, Sam Houston, the governor of Texas, sat down to write his professional obituary. He was nearly 70 years old. Within 3 years he would be dead, and that afternoon his life's work was being undone just outside his office on the grounds of the Texas Capitol. On February 1st, delegates to a state convention had voted to secede from the Union by a crushing margin. A referendum held 3 weeks later found that nearly 3/4 of voters agreed. Texas formally left the United States on March 2, 1861, the 25th anniversary of the day Texas declared its independence from Mexico. The day in question, March 16th, was to be the day the governor of Texas swore his oath of allegiance to the Confederate States of America. That governor, however, would not be Houston. For more than a year since the 1859 election, he had been trying to stamp out the secessionist fervor that had taken hold of the state, first by argument and finally by stalling. In the end, it was the legislature that called for a state convention to vote on the question, and now the secessionists were calling for him to come forward and be sworn in as the governor of Texas in the Confederate States of America. But the governor could acknowledge how Texas had voted more readily than he could accept it. Fellow citizens, in the name of your rights and liberties which I believe to have been trampled upon, I refuse to take this oath, Houston wrote. I love Texas too well to bring strife and bloodshed upon her. Houston was concluding one of the oddest and most unlikely political careers in American history. He grew up as a fatherless boy from Tennessee. Then, as a teenage runaway, lived with the Cherokees for several years before joining the infantry to fight in the War of 1812. From these semi-feral beginnings, he went on to power, fame, and briefly, respectability. He was a congressman from Tennessee, then the governor of that state, until he had his heart broken and took off for the frontier, where he lived in a wigwam and drank himself half to death. Several years later, he roused himself and went to Texas, where he took up arms again and led the revolutionaries to their decisive victory at the Battle of San Jacinto. He became the first official president of Texas, then the governor of Texas, then the state's first senator, then the governor again.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?